asked why NC was so anxious. After all, they were just two friends. Yet his worry added a layer of tension that she found puzzling. She wished he would simply explain his reasoning instead of acting so secretive. The whole situation was a tangled web of confusion and emotions, leaving her unsettled. What does he mean by misunderstood? Honestly, she didn't say anything about him or her. However, NC just said that. He then asked about her agenda for going here. She stated that she had just come here to visit, and she thought that his condition may have gotten worse because of her. Something like revenge patient care. He commanded her to go home, but all she noticed was that no one else was home. Well, his mother has gone shopping, so I guess he's alone. But there's no way she's thinking of accompanying me, ain't it? But she couldn't help it. After checking his feverish temperature, she wasn't able to leave him and not take responsibility. It looks like everything is gonna go wrong, especially now that Iguchi is here. She started taking care of him. She even got his cooling pad out of his head as it was already lukewarm, so she replaced it with a new one. MC couldn't believe that she was taking care of him. Everything feels wrong. He then complains that the cooling pad is so cold. Of course, what do you expect? That's a cooling pad, MC. A cooling pad, for God's sake. Iguchi then asked if he was feeling well, but he immediately stopped her from touching him. He thought she had already reflected a little, and had already known to restrain himself, but guessed not. She cleared up the misunderstanding, as it wasn't like she was going to lewdly touch him. But for MC, the idea of making up for him is to not touch any part of his body, not even a finger for today. Does that mean she can touch you, but not just today? Since she's in MC's room, she'll give full points for arrow supply. In this situation, she guessed she could compromise. He was confused about what she meant by that, but it was merely her saying that she understood what he wanted. She was slurring her words, so he was still a bit skeptical of her words. She asked him to go back to sleep as she just checked up on him. So he ended up going back to sleep, but before that, he reminded Iguchi not to try any other money. As he fell asleep, Iguchi noted that he was lying face down. MC, overhearing this, grew infuriated and quickly apologized, realizing that she had made a sound akin to a data update. Ultimately, MC struggled with her feelings. She felt that her primary aim was to observe him with her indecent gaze, particularly since he seemed so weak. However, she asserted that his perception of her concern was misguided. Her worry for him was sincere, and she recognized that she might have overstepped her boundaries in the infirmary. Throughout the day, her thoughts lingered on his condition as she frequently glanced at the empty seat beside her. This reflection brought forth a realization. She had indeed pushed him too hard when he was unwell. The sense of guilt gnawed at her, prompting a reevaluation of her behavior and intentions. MC's concern ran deeper than her initial motivations, leading her to understand the consequences of her actions. She hoped to convey her genuine care for him, wishing she could rectify her approach and truly support him in his time of need. Despite her frustrations, the day was defined by her lingering thoughts about him and the emotional complexity of their connection. As she was about to touch him, she controlled herself from doing so and just laid her head on his bed. She apologized and then remarked how long the curl of his lashes was up close, but he was actually thinking the same thing. He observed her thoroughly, even though her skin was so nice, her cheeks got a little red. The curls at the tips of her hair are covering her face. In the end, he ended up expressing his true feelings and admitting how cute she looked. At the same moment, she also said cute, and at the same time, he said something. She smiled as she read what she was about to say. Well, rather than reading what she's about to say, he was just saying that she was just cute. Because our MC is prideful, he wouldn't admit it and get angry with her. Anyways, his tongue almost slipped. Thank goodness, he halted, or else you're doomed. MC, who was in his room, was currently checking out a magazine for a seductive scent. However, his sister suddenly interfered and teased him about going to be seductive. Of course, he wasn't prepared for that remark, especially when his sister is always away. He asked her niece son when she came back. However, her sister was only interested in giving him an item that would help him now that he was in his puberty stage. She explained that the perfume she'll be giving him makes one or two girls fall for him. And he's right. That's the one from the appendix. But his sister insisted that he'd be grateful for having one instead of complaining. So even though skeptical, he still put it on in hopes of attracting somebody we know. As he entered the classroom, Maino smelled the perfume he wore, so he asked MC if he was wearing one. With his high self-esteem, he didn't admit that he was actually wearing one. Instead, he explained that her older sister sprayed some. Maino found it nice as he always wanted to put on such things. Well, he believed it's not a bad scent until Iguchi sits beside him with such an expression. It turns out she's not as good with perfumes as others. That only means she can't tolerate the scent of perfume. Poor MC, his efforts are all wasted. Iguchi excused herself to the bathroom, and as for MC, he kept on blaming his sister. After all, it was all her idea. As Iguchi was inside the comfort room, she felt bad about it as she would be sitting with him the whole day, so she didn't know what to do. While contemplating, she heard Maino's voice and saw Maino getting angry at MC for washing himself off as he believed it was impossible. The floor is also getting wet, so Maino suggested getting a clean cloth to wipe it off. Meanwhile, MC is thinking it is way better now. Iguchi was grateful for the efforts he put in. Of course, MC is prideful, so he wouldn't admit he did that just for her. So he lied that he didn't want to be treated like a smelly thing by him. What a tsundere. He didn't wipe up all the water, so Iguchi offered to wipe it for him. So she asked him where he put the perfume. Mostly it's in the wrist and back of the ears, and Iguchi managed to wipe it off. But the problem is that he also sprayed it on the upper part of his body before putting on a uniform. Without any hesitation, her hands entered MC's uniform and wiped it all off. But in the midst of that, she felt sick due to the stinking smell of the perfume. So guess what? In the end, they sat apart. The cultural festival performance is fast approaching, and most of the class has chosen to create a maid and butler cafe. Before anyone could step forward to volunteer as a butler, MC quickly proposed that he don a mascot costume and drawing customers. Fearing the embarrassment of being called out for butler role. However, the teacher pointed out that the only mascot costume in storage was designed for women who would likely be too small for MC. Unfazed, Iguchi stepped up to take charge of the mascot outfit. She enthusiastically informed the teacher that she would craft a new costume from scratch, showcasing her creativity.
Reloading.
This innovative solution not only addressed MC's concerns, but also provided a unique twist to the cafe concept. As the festival approaches, excitement builds among classmates who are ready to contribute and make the cafe a memorable experience for everyone. Iguchi's initiative and MC's willingness to embrace a fun role are sure to attract customers and cultivate a lively atmosphere at this year's festival. But that's not the case. MC just did that to save himself from second-hand embarrassment, and Iguchi did that to taunt MC more. After feeling triumph all over her body, she turned to MC, assuring him that he needed to take his measurements in order to do that. Since it's already settled, it'll be the one in charge of that position. The rest of the positions will be divided among the class. She proceeded to measure his body, so she ordered him to quickly strip for her. But MC kept on insisting he would do fine by himself. However, that's not possible. Measuring actually needs a bit of sensitivity. However, in his defense, he never agreed to be measured by her in the first place. He suggested calling anyway. That way, he'll be the one to measure him. However, he's in the middle of the meeting for the executive committee. So to make it fair, Iguchi suggested that MC can measure her as well. He couldn't actually grasp which part of it was fair. Before he can react, Iguchi already removed the brass unit. He agreed to accurately measure the bust length. Even though there's no malice in it, MC couldn't help but be flustered. She gave him the measuring tape and reminded him to be stable in doing so as he couldn't possibly measure when they swung. He needed to make sure it was tightly wrapped around her bust. But really same thoughts, MC. How can she make that kind of face and act as if it's all normal? MC was also shocked because Iguchi ran away when the results weren't out yet. But she screamed that it was already out, pertaining to his nosebleed. She didn't care if anyone could see her knockers. All she could ever think was to grab a tissue for his nosebleed. However, it's not just that. What truly made him think so deeply is the fact that she feels comfortable enough not to wear a bra in front of him. While he was lost in thought.
Make your tailgate tail great at Hy-Vee. Fresh ground chuck, $3.99 a pound. 24 packs of Hy-Vee purified water, $1.99. And Jimmy Dean bacon, just $2.99. In-store and online, Friday through Sunday, only at Hy-Vee.
Gabby Mosley, you're safe now.
We find missing people
Like my sister.
For all those needing to be found, when nobody else is looking,
We do whatever it takes.
I will take your life if you hurt her.
You don't get to make the threat.
I promise.
Exploration begins.
I'm coming for you.
Found. New. Tonight on NBC and Peacock.
Austin thought he overheard a conversation between two girls. One of them, named Rika, was being questioned by another girl about whether she was really going to wear a maid costume, considering how embarrassing it might be. Rika defended her choice, explaining that she had always wanted to wear it. Although the outfit is a bit revealing, she feels it's fine since it's not something they can wear every day. Rika pointed out that she didn't particularly care about the opinions of the guys in their class, so she felt no embarrassment. She likened it to wearing a mascot costume. It's all in fun, after all. This conversation left him wondering whether Gucci feels the same way. Does her comfort in being herself and her disregard for others' opinions mean that she doesn't care about him? It made him reflect on their relationship and consider what it might reveal about her feelings. These thoughts lingered in his mind as he tried to make sense of everything. MC asked the internet for help on this one, looking for a sign that a person likes him. A specific person, to be exact. He was still thinking about whether or not Gucci liked him or just plainly ignoring him. But looking back, they got a fair share of contact and bond that would really make you think she likes him. However, if that's not the case, then he feels as if he's just being used for his body. Little did he know, Gucci was walking towards him behind, greeting him as she normally would do in the morning. But MC doesn't know how to act properly and just stares at her, thinking that he would also stare if a pretty girl were to appear in front of him. He quickly snapped out of it, returned as if he didn't care. On the other hand, Gucci was concerned about him since he got a nosebleed yesterday. MC tried to put it aside as if it was not a big deal. But Gucci was also there to let him know that the mascot costume was already ready for cleaning so they could try it on after school. He tried not to pay much attention to it, so they both went to the storage room to try on the costumes. MC stripped everything, giving Gucci the best view possible, but MC's face wasn't feeling it. It gave Gucci a mixed feeling of being happy or worried, and it seems like MC can't understand that. It was already decided that he doesn't care about where she looks or touches. He thinks he did something, but it only gave Gucci an opportunity, which MC quickly took back because what the hell. Anyway, he immediately got into the costume and covered everything except his back. He was acting like an emotional girl, especially when he asked Gucci if he were a girl with fluffy fur without his figure showing. Would she not want to look at him? Gucci was speechless, but before she could answer his question, their classmates saw them and flocked around MC. They pointed out that the mascot didn't fit his size at all, so MC had to ask his mom about his size first. The tension between them wasn't as usual, so I guess that's the spice in this vanilla manga. The next day, after class, everyone was busy preparing for the festival, and MC was getting embarrassed at his emotional tantrum yesterday with the bear. Things are awkward between the two of them, and Gucci won't even look at him. If only their classmates didn't interrupt them. Speaking of, that won't happen because everyone in the class needs all the manpower they can have, so they asked MC if he bought the paint. As for Gucci, the other girls asked her to try on the maid outfit so they could compare. However, MC overheard a conversation by the other boys that she would definitely look pretty, and his jealousy got triggered, which annoyed him. As Gucci was already in the storage room, ready to change into the costume, MC suddenly burst out into the classroom, leaving his responsibility just so he could run towards Gucci. Without knowing much, he went to the storage room and called her out without properly thinking what he's going to say. So he directly told her that she couldn't wear the maid outfit because she wouldn't look good in it. That pissed Gucci, so she put on the maid outfit to prove him wrong, and he was because this girl looked fine in that outfit. She walks past him, saying that everyone is waiting to see her, but he stops her and says that he doesn't want other people in class to look at her with those meaningful eyes as he does. MC felt sorry for making her remember something terrible, but Gucci dragged him into the storage room and said that she had never ever hated how he looked at her, because when it comes to him, she doesn't mind getting seen as such. Now that she has confessed, she wants to know if he hates it if she looks at him without the same meaningful eyes. But MC replied that he doesn't while looking away out of embarrassment. Then Gucci mentioned his tantrum with the bear yesterday, and admitted that the thought of him covering his skin with fur is as good looking as she anticipated. But when people started flocking around him in that costume, she realized that she didn't want him to wear it. She feels the same way as he does now, but only when she is jealous. That concludes that perhaps Gucci has fallen for MC, and with that, he drew his face closer to her as if he were to kiss her. But then Gucci falls back, and it was a big slap for MC that he just got rejected. So they fell silent before he burst out laughing. He laughed and said how she thought he was going to kiss her when he wouldn't, but that was just a pathetic excuse. He said that he was just joking around, which offended Gucci, so she kicked him out of the storage room and said that he was the worst. He obviously screwed up, and now he's whining because he regretted his actions. On the other hand, Gucci's heart was thumping hard because his actions surprised her and made her think he was going to kiss her. She felt embarrassed because she made a weird sound, so now tears were falling from her eyes as she realized that there was no way Ikezawa would look at her that way, and the edging just kept going. The next morning came and MC was sitting on his chair while still getting fed up with his actions the previous day. It seems like he just dug his grave exactly, and now he doesn't even know how to face her today. A few minutes later, Gucci came in and was greeted first by Meina. They exchanged greetings, and she sat down in her seat while ignoring MC. If she would continue ignoring him, he wanted to see how long it would take her not to notice. He pretended that he was sweating, so he acted all laid back. He grabbed a body wipe and wiped out the sweat on his body as if he were on an Axe commercial or something, only to find out that Gucci wasn't even looking. In that case, he went as far as asking Gucci to help him with the areas he can't reach, like his back, which obviously made Gucci flatter, but she still has the decency to say no for her pride's sake. That felt like a deja vu back to when he exposed himself willingly to him, but now's not the time to reminisce, so he got on his knees and apologized to Gucci for taking his actions too far yesterday. She replied that she wished he wouldn't make jokes like that, so it's okay if he were to show a lot of skin as he wants because she no longer feels anything about that. Hearing her words made MC dumbfounded because that would alter how they act around each other. For Gucci to prove that she's serious, she takes the wipes and wipes MC's back, and now they're back to fighting after making up again. The next day, Gucci was looking gloomy first thing in the morning, so she explained that she had a hard time making the bear costume and decided to buy one from the store instead. Although she wanted it to be special by capturing his body line, there was no time to do that, so they needed to buy it from the store instead. She was buying it after class. It would be more convenient to try it out, so that means they're going out after class. That sounded like a date, but things would get ruined if he were to overthink it, so he didn't think much about it. After class, Nino asked MC to help regarding the menu for the festival, but MC said that he had plans with Gucci, which surprised him. The way MC was looking smug wasn't helping at all, so the poor second character was left single and alone while stressing about being a committee in class. Later, the two went to the mall, where Gucci was talking about not messing it up so she could achieve her goal of making the costume fit for MC. However, a sweet smell lingers in the air and makes it through her nostril. It was coming from the freshly baked melon bread, which made her stomach growl. MC notices this and thinks that they should eat, but Gucci refuses. It's not like he would listen though, because he already got one for each, and now they can enjoy this yummy bread together. MC realized that Gucci was acting rather normal without much teasing, but the moment he looked at her, she was biting off that bread so cutely that he choked on it. Now there are breadcrumbs falling on his abs. It would be a waste to wipe it off, so Gucci did what was best, and that was to take it out and eat it because a small crumb of bread shouldn't be wasted. In the end, their mascot hunting turned into posing for a camera while in a bear cosplay. MC was posing cutely with Gucci before he even asked what the hell they were doing. They were straying far from the goal, but Gucci argued that it was her job to make sure the bear costume really suited him. But that was obviously made up. She saw the cosplay photo while they were walking, so she was tempted by it, and there's not much choice, and now they're posing for the camera. MC felt the unfairness because he was the only one in cosplay, so Gucci replied that she didn't plan on dressing up for the festival anyway. He was noisy and throwing a tantrum, so she had no choice but to also cosplay. There were a bunch of cute options to pick from, and they ended up cosplaying as bear and cat. It was a perfect cosplay, and MC could barely stop looking at it. Gucci doesn't feel embarrassed in that costume and proceeds to pose for the camera, but MC can only stare at her while the camera is shooting. His stares became so intense that it made her slightly embarrassed, but it just made it worse because she was cute when embarrassed. It made MC look at her more intensely, which gave Gucci the urge to attack him. In the end, their photos ended up looking like 4 coma manga, which is funny because it makes me want to sleep and never wake up. Amid the constant buzz of students scurrying around before the class starts, a boy sits in a chair like a clumsy bum with his head up in the clouds. Out of the blue, another dude standing by the window like a creepy watcher mumbles something. This catches his attention real quick, asking what he's even talking about. So these two dimwits, hanging out in class and just being their usual lame selves, are staring at Beauty. After taking a good look at her, he sees that they are gossiping about the pretty girl from the low-level high school. Some other dude besides Creeper gets a good look at this chick who happens to have a terrible fashion sense. They start making fun of her outfit, joking about how stupid she can look. But guess what? Acting like cool lads, they quickly jump into cool formation as she turns to look at their pathetic faces. Suddenly, Creeper tries playing it nice, waving at her like he got a chance at this hottie or something. Little did he know, this chick has a serious case of batty attitude that's about to burn her lungs. Looking at her pitiful waves, she quickly turns her head 90 degrees back and gets moving. The girl knows she is way too good for their nonsense and leaves, leaving the ugly duds utterly shocked. It is like a major blow to their fragile egos. Though these jerks are damn sure about one thing, which is that this unfriendly chick is pretty sick and hot. The guy over the chair hears these morons being a piece of junk, chatting about what they can expect from that tight sugar plum. What's ironic is that these guys are from this prestigious, top-ranked preparatory school in this whole nation. What's more ironic is that there is a low-level correspondence high school right next to the hi-fi school building from where the pretty girl threw the baddie look. Further on, the dimwits continue mulling about how they are super jealous of these delinquents, especially with their dead-end future. These two are damn sure their fate has been decided since when they stepped foot there. No worries scrolling through the ocean of good posts, but as a jelly wish, these idiots are going to be washed away on the shore like crap. Their free chit-chat takes a different turn that rubs Blondie in the wrong way. Thinking about the pretty girl's attitude might hook her up with a sugar daddy only to throw her out like garbage when she gets old. Moreover, those two look more concerned if she dyed even her bottoms. All of a sudden, Blondie Tanuki speaks up in a huff that it is quite vulgar for a dude like him. Eyes like daggers, he glares at those pricks, telling them that they look off their rocker. With slimy smug faces, these two had the audacity to ask if there was a problem with Mr. Slack-jawed Tanuki. With a heavy sigh, he mutters that he did not say anything. They cannot help but break in laughter to see his over-the-top anger at absolutely nothing. So this guy, Tanuki, the last bencher, seems to be the mysterious dude of this story. This secretive guy tends to hide a lot of stuff from his classmates. Reading this English word family, which is about having close relationships, he continues to play his boring role in the classroom as usual. Later on, he heads home as soon as he is done. Arriving at the doorstep, he was about to leave, but the chick picked up his presents fast enough to open the door in a split second. Turns out that pretty badass gal is none other than Tanuki's big sister. So this hotshot baddie asks Tanuki to clear her way out real quick. He has the nerve to ask his big sister where she is planning to venture off. He then asks if she got the gist of what they were saying. Like a clueless nut, she asks what he is even talking about, though Tanuki lets it go by saying it is just a usual talk. Nevertheless, this dumbass sparked her interest now, as she asks if it is about her. Thus, she lashes out at this virgin prick, insisting he get off of her back and not get involved. As she is about to make a dramatic exit, Tanuki casually informs this lady that she got a tag on her pants. Looks like this dude wrecked her melodramatic exit scene. Zooming in on it, this dude is pretty psyched to see that these pants are worth 2,000 yen. Hence he asks his big sister if they are really worth this much. In a hissy fit mood, she tears apart the tag with her long pointy nails. All of a sudden, she turns around with her puppy eyes just to ask why he was looking there anyway. She calls him gross and demands he drop dead right away before storming out of there. The lad has no clue what he has done or what went wrong. But bead slides down his cheek. Apparently, his older sister is a pretty well-known, lively gal around here. But guess what? It comes to pass that Tanuki's big sis is surprisingly not related to him by blood. Man hoping these to figure out how to be a family without all the blood tie nonsense. Maybe they can get a clue or two from watching the Kardashians or Drake and Josh. Afterward, it happens that his friend catches up with Tanuki to do their homework together. There, Tanuki raises a weird question that puts the other lad on the spot. Shocked to his core, he hears Tanuki deeply curious about what family means to him. However, this brainiac puts it as it is. That family is family, no matter what happens. Although he does shed light on that family, it is more about how he feels. Moreover, he provides a whole perspective about for better or worse. That's all there is to this relationship. Hope the lad gets a clue that no shady shit is welcome in the family. Tanuki gives out not such a happy yeah. This piques the other dude's interest in getting his view of the word family. Without further ado, he spills that he believes it is about an important presence. However, this nerdy guy is quite sharp to think Tanuki has some problems with his sister. Just then, he asks Tanuki if he is worried about his sister. With a nervous chuckle, Tanuki passes a vibe that his buddy caught him straight. Time to blow the whistle. Tanuki mentions that he is having a hard time understanding his big sis. There he says, whenever he tries talking with her, the thing escalates into a fight real quick. What's even worse is that she gets further away from his reach, even more than before. Not to mention, he states that they are family, but even then, nothing has changed. But the nerdy dude doesn't give a damn about this crybaby's issues with big sis, because he got his hands on Mr. Aikbane's latest work, which is called Let Me Understand. Seeing him psyched over the latest manga series, Tanuki feels out of sorts, looking like a lost fish. All of a sudden, this nerd looks pumped about the crybaby not knowing a thing about this manga series. Tanuki has no clue what this moron is even bickering about. Well, no worries, because the Doujin master now has the stage to lay out a fine explanation about Let Me Understand. Scoffing at him, he calls him a minor and silly baby for not getting this masterpiece. But Tanuki is not afraid to ask this dude why he is into these ridiculous erotic mangas. However, the lad continues to ramble about it, on and on. He says that this is a story totally revolving around a super hot, confident, but cheeky gal who's got to take defeat. Furthermore, he mumbles about this cheeky gal flipping into an honest, cute cupcake right after losing her pride. Sadly, Tanuki still has zero clues, as this dumbass is talking his ear off. Tired of this loser's pea-sized brain, he snaps some sense into Tanuki by putting it simply. Thus, he pieces the details by mentioning that this manga series might work things out with his sister. Out of the blue, Tanuki suddenly fades out of the scene, whining about his brain hurting. Moving on, Tanuki rushes for dinner time and can't help but admire her mom's delicious cooking. Suddenly, his dad tells this moron to call his big sis for dinner now. Out of the blue, he bumps into his big sis, informing her how everyone is waiting for her at dinner time. She outright declines the offer. It doesn't stop Tanuki from asking why, especially when they used to eat together. Annoyed by this moron, she insists on knowing why he gives a damn. There, he blurts out that they are family, and this is why he cares. It comes as a shock to her, as she stands there like a statue for a few moments. With a sudden head turn, she makes it pretty clear that they are nothing. Also, she demands this loafer not to check her out like that. But Tanuki refuses to give up right here. He asks her if she is walking out of here looking like that at this hour. She shut him up, calling him a useless fool always sticking his nose in her business. To top it all off, Tanuki knows that his cheeky, bratty big sis has changed a lot. When she spills that she must do it her way, he is there, and he just wants to understand. Turns out that pretty gal has a party night with ongoing booze and a couple of drunkards around. She sits in the middle of these scums, bawling her eyes out in silence while holding the booze. Suddenly, two jerks sit right close to her, whining about how Kano's social skills have been rotting for ages. With her sweet sorry ass, she mumbles apologies as she is not very familiar with this kind of thing. Though the dude wants this 22-year-old baddie to get used to this vibe real quick. Not only that, he pushes her to level up her booze because that's how the show runs here, as it is all the same afterward. Some girl next to her tries hushing the idiot. She scolds the jerks about how hard it was to get this chick here and asks him to be nice to her. The drunkards shut her up by calling her a runaway tramp. This party turns into a blow-up pitiful hangout with a bunch of nobody. Out of the blue, this jerk forces Kano to blow some weed with him, if not the booze. In his way, it's a tad bit better not to be that weird. Eyes on the prize, or let's say, Kano's big beasts, make him force Kano to take the drink. Some other chicks notice Kano being the super big target of this night, as she bets that dude likes huge melons. Kano is about to mutter that this thing feels a bit off, but this scum is in no mood to hear a no. Glancing at his creepy face, he declares that she should read the room. Suddenly, the room's heat is skyrocketing and Kano is sweating like a leaky faucet. With her eyes wide as saucers, she hears him going on and on about her cocky attitude just because she is a little cute. Not to mention, he throws whatever nonsense balls into his mouth. He calls her a total idiot that he called for some fun. After hearing an earful of his bullcrap, she downs the beer in one go. Others are charmed by the lady's chugging style on her first try, and the little baddie couldn't handle a bit of booze and collapsed next while being a lightweight amusement for everyone. Everything is hazy and blurry through her eyes, as she barely makes out what these guys are doing. With her hearing heightened, she knows these jerks are up to something. She mumbles that she wants to go home, but this jerk does not wish to lose his prize this fast, so he grumbles that he will show her why he called her here in the first place. Holding her face, which is drenched in sweat, he cannot help but admire this baddie for having such a cute face. However, he feels pity for her because no other chick wants to hang out with her. This leaves her to the wolves. Getting a good look at her big melons, the lad asks if this chick has a younger brother who is related by blood. Some jerk tells him that there is a rumor going on that he caught about this girl. Thus he spills the beans, saying that his brother likes checking her out with blue eyes. Breaking out in laughter, he mutters that they would do the same with a hotshot sister like her. All of a sudden, there is a knock that disrupts their party. That freaky jerk asks if someone has ordered food or something, so he asks the other guy to try checking the door out. This dude doesn't want to leave this place right when things are about to get steamy. With a loud sigh, he murmurs in his breath why he is always the one getting behind like a sucky lackey. After reaching the door, he tells the dude that he heard him from afar while asking what he wants. All of a sudden, Tanuki, set up as a delivery dude, calls out to this dumbnut that this is the delivery guy at their service. Talk about a tasty plot twist. Drenching in sweat, this jerk is about to have a serious case of mini heart attacks. Seemed like someone ordered a huge bowl of sushi at this place. The lackey takes the delivery dude right upstairs to sort out who ordered this mumbo jumbo dish. Not to mention, the jerks are losing their minds and scratching their heads to think who has the audacity to order top quality sushi. While the other guys are drooling at the sight of this delicious treat, suddenly, the delivery guy spills the beans that this order was done under the name of Miss Kano. Tanuki sees Kano, who is totally passed out like an old rug in the corner. All the scumbags look rather shocked to hear Kano can go out of her way to order such a big feast for them. They bet that this chick is such a good gal. They all thank her before digging in to lick every bite of the sushi. Laughing under their sushi breaths, they cannot help but feel pity for this chick who was so dumb to fall for a friendly invitation. Not only that, they find Kano is a little too healthy and such an aid girl who listens to whatever they say. The funny thing is a friend tricked her into this bowl of crap, and to top it all off, she treats them with high-class food. Suddenly, the jerk spots the delivery guy standing like a ghost freak in the corner. They ask the guy to leave, but Tanuki has some unfinished business here. Without further ado, he lifts Kano up, mentioning that he will leave after collecting something important, such as her. A sudden big vein pops at Creeper's forehead. He kisses at Tanuki, declaring that this chick is their property, so he has to put her down right away or he is in for a nasty treat. Out of the blue, he asks if he is Kano's little brother. A round of laughter erupts, mocking Tanuki, the little life-saving Sistan, who has come to save her sister. With a sinister grin, he tells the little boy to leave the treat and not spoil their fun tonight. Moreover, he asks the pretty boy to leave and go home to mommy. That said, Tanuki mutters, Yo Hikutani, a second-year student at the faculty of State University of Technology. It comes as a shock to him that this kid knows from this moment. He asks if Tanuki is trying to play the doxing game or what. All of a sudden, Tanuki rambles a fully detailed history of Yohei's life and every passing event gone by to this day. Not only that, Tanuki dug pretty deep to figure this nut job is under serious probation after the assault case. Moreover, his nasty bum has been scared by the police ever since he left his mommy's house. Shivers run down his spine, and Yohei musters up the courage to ask how he knows this all. There he states that his ears just happened to hear a rumor. Turns out that this lad is a pretty big party boy who doesn't see how countryside rumors spread out like wildfire. Just then, the other guys start walking in on him, asking if everything is great with Yohei. Sweating like a leaky faucet, Yohei has no clue what kind of crap he has fallen into this time. Later on, like a good little brother, Tanuki makes it home with his big sis who is still passed out. Arriving home, he looks at his big mess of a sister lying like a pile of bricks on the doorstep. This ditzy girl, hooked on booze, just cannot flinch a muscle but